One, that Lassa fever issue, obviously they didn't carry him along. Nobody makes any payment in Nddc without Godwin Akpabio's approval. When we first came to Nddc, on the day of going for the inauguration, he told me in the car that, Madam MD, if you don't do what I say, the same pen with which I used to sign your letter, it will be the same pen that I will use to remove you. He said the first thing I should do when I get to Port Harcourt is to change the dollars in the Nddc account. I was scared to do that. He claims that I have poverty mentality, that I am afraid of money. All of you knew they accused me that I refused to spend money. It is strange that today it's now about money. After that, he came to Port Harcourt 2 days after the inauguration. He said the first thing I should do is to make sure I change the dollars. I should remove Mr. Kaltungo from being legal and send him on compulsory retirement, that we cannot have a northerner be the head of the legal team, of the legal unit. I said I can't do that. I do not have the powers as just an IMC to act as a board. It is a criminal offense and it's against the public service rules for me to do that. He said I should remove all the other directors that refused to take his instruction during the time of Mrs. Agwagaga. That was the predecessor before I came. So he came also with a draft, which I've submitted, with a draft letter that I should write and put it on my letterhead, implicating Senator Nwaoboshi for collecting contracts in Nddc. I told him that I will not, I'm a lawyer, and that whoever alleges must prove. The fact that Senator Nwaoboshi is giving us trouble as IMC, you remember also that they did not recognize the IMC. I said I will not do that letter. He said I was ungrateful and I refused to do the letter. Dr. Cairo now said that he will do the letter. If Akpabio tells him to kill, he will kill before he asks, why did he kill? I said, for me, I will not do the letter. At that place, there was Mr. Etiebet, who was the only staff of the Nddc that was present at that meeting. When he finished, he now asked Dr. Cairo to go and send for the letter-headed paper from the office. They now sent for the letter-headed paper. Dr. Cairo now did the letter, which I've also submitted to the committee, alleging that Senator Nwaoboshi had contracts. Then he said, I must sign the cover letter. I said, if I sign any document from me seen by Mr. President, he will believe every line of it. So I will only write that the EDP, who should know about projects, have gone. The next thing that he told me, he said, I must make sure that all these people leave and that the procurement, because apparently Akpabio, before I came, when himself and Festus Keyamo were ministers, their first meeting at the commission, he was awarded 30 contracts for distilling and water hyacinth. Mr. Linus, who was the director finance, refused to sign because it did not follow due process. He also said that I should implicate the chairman of the House Committee, because the chairman of the House Committee had gone to Ondo State for a meeting to plan against him. I said, I don't even know that one. I've never even seen him. For Senator Nwaoboshi, he was my classmate at law school. and we were called to bar the same day. However, I'd not seen him since our call to bar and didn't really remember him, which was like over 30 years ago. When we finished that, I went back. He began to say I should bring all the things I should start paying. I said I cannot pay. Water hyacinth and distilling. They said that the budget for water hyacinth and distilling was, I think, for about 3 to 5 billion. I'm not sure exactly how much. But that the NDDC before I came had overstretched itself to about 50 billion for water hyacinth and distilling. And so the National Assembly had written us, they have it also, they had written us that we should not pay for anything like that. He said, and guess what? Akpabio never signs any documents. He will always refuse to sign, but he will tell you to go and commit the fraud. For instance, he told me to go and raise a memo and give an emergency contract for flood victims.
Those jobs were not done, and not 1 naira was paid. And when you make recommendation, it is not that you are going to be the contractor. It is that if they put a job for your constituency, when they are going through due process, they will advertise that job. And that job will be awarded to the one that wins the bid. It is not that when a senator makes a suggestion to an agency, whether it is Nigerian Power Authority, whether it is NEMA, whether it is NDC, that senator will automatically go and become the contractor. Do you understand what I mean? And the fact that that paper was written on the minority leaders' letterheaded paper shows that it was not an award. An award of contract would have been an NDC paper. So when I saw it, I did not think it was worth responding to, because I'm a seasoned administrator and I'm a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and I owe the nation nothing but good service and to tell the truth. So that was, it wasn't worth responding to.
He wanted me to take an oath. He has denied that, but I want to say today, he told me up to 3 times until we had a reconciliation meeting at the villa in the house of Mr. Sarki Abba, who is the SA to the president on domestics. In that meeting was Alhaji Mekano. He said the only condition was if I take the oath. I refused to take the oath, and I did not take that oath.
We are not known for any fetish oath. We know that there is an oath of allegiance that anybody takes when you are giving an appointment or when you are coming to make a submission like we did today in the Senate. If there is any other thing, it's pure fallacy. Do you understand? So I come here to tell you people that as a member of the IMC, His Excellency Senator Godwin Akpabio did not give me any fetish oath to take. Are you listening to me?
Yes.
Yes. And it applies to all of us that are working in the IMC. Any other thing is pure fallacy. I am an evangelist. If people have issues and they try to cover up the issues and try to bring propaganda, as a woman of God I am, I will not come to mislead the public. There is no other fetish oath given to us as members of the IMC by His Excellency Senator Dr. Godwin Akpabio. There is no other oath, and I stand to be disputed. Anybody who has any other counter should come. Let us discuss it.
Even the 2 houses, the 2 committees in charge of Nddc, we found out that even the 2 chairmen were accused of being involved in the sleaze. So how do you sit down to begin to probe somebody else? You are probing a system that you are also accused. So who is going to also probe you? And that is the question. You don't build a wall around yourself and say nobody's going to ask questions, or you are ready to ask other people questions. Even though, with due respect to the Senate President, he was able to bring some other senators to handle it. But I can still tell you the politics of PDP, APC also played out there.
My job was to come here and also listen, because it will help me to know what they've been spending. In fact, one of the IMCs, I did not even know they expended even up to 10 or 20 billion naira. So the record will also help me to make sure we supervise better. Okay, and Mr. President has taken steps to set up a presidential monitoring committee. And that committee, I'm the chairman. That committee, by the act, empowers me to ask for record of expenses. So what comes out from this will also help me to look at whether the monies were rightly expended or not, whether they follow due process or not. And also, it's a combination for us to change the Niger-delta. That's why I said everything here comes up to forensic. I'm a Niger-delta, but I've never been impressed with Nddc. I must say that. I've never been impressed with Nddc. Throughout my tenure as a governor, I wasn't impressed. They do politically motivated projects. You do 5 kilometers of road, and the next right thing is watch away.
I refuse to go with him to deceive Mr. President at the FEC meeting, because the Procurement Act says if I contravene any section of the Procurement Act, it's 5 years imprisonment without an option of fine. So if I go and say they should pay for the process, if you see, they say it's for 2020 budget. Akpabio went to get the approval from FEC. The 2020 budget has not even been discussed by the National Assembly till today. The 2020 budget has not been passed. However, he lied to FEC, which is the greatest embarrassment in this country, for a budget that has not been passed, for an approval to be given for that procurement. I refused to go because he wanted me to send the money for the procurement to the ministry to implement the forensic audit. I refused. I am challenging him to deny any of these allegations because I have to round up for you people. But all the facts and all that I've said are all written in my document. I challenge him to say he did not give me any oath. I challenge him on the certificates of no objection that he has. And I'm proud, and I want to encourage all Nigerians that we must save this country, it's our own. He says I did not bring money. I'm talking to ministers against his presidential ambition. He gave me a list of people to employ. I said I will not employ them because our zone and the youth in our zone have not gotten jobs. I will not do it. So he should come. He's lucky that God did not plan for me to be there today. The person that authorized it. I will say.
The budget of the Niger-delta Commission from inception 2001 to date has always been hijacked, has always been bastardized by the two chairmen. The chairman in the House and the chairman in the Senate. And if you look at that document there, you will realize what I'm saying. To seek a new relationship with the National Assembly built on new fundamentals, not driven by personal interest. What are we saying here? We want to show the National Assembly that it is important they help the people of the Niger-delta, that they should allow the people of the Niger-delta to grow. That if what has been happening in the Nddc, between the Nddc and the two chairmen, if it continues, there is no hope for the Niger-delta region. And that is what comes to mind, and that is why we are very happy that this opportunity has been given to the Commission to come here, so that those who are stepping on the neck of Nddc will allow the Nddc to breathe. That is what the people, the leaders of the Niger-delta region, the governors, that was the reason they came together. And they went to Mr. President. That look, since this Nddc was established, we have seen nothing. The stakeholders, they went to President. President, after the board was introduced, they said that this board cannot represent the interest of the people. Mr. President then said, stop it, inaugurate the IMC. Since then, we have not known this.
Some of these people are merchandise. They just come into the commission on the basis of political connotation, and then with one aim, to make money and go and contest election. So now the president is the first president in Nigeria that has not used the Nddc as a place to settle political cronies. That is why he has the courage to order for forensic audit of the Nddc from 2001. We must commend that. Because if his family members and political cronies were going to Nddc as in the past to go and collect money and phony contracts that were never executed, there's no way he would have ordered for forensic audit. So mine is to make sure I carry out the instruction of the president and cleanse the system and then set up a management structure. We have international companies that are joining us in the forensic. The lead auditors are working, the lead forensic auditors are working, but on Wednesday, my memo was stepped down for another date to bring in the state forensic auditors and the one that will be in the headquarters to audit the program and set up a management structure, an organogram fit for purpose so that the Nddc can change for the better. So by the time we are through, if they need to come to the parliament with recommendations of how they can tinker with the law for the region to work better, for Nddc to work for the region, they will come to the parliament. So I like what is happening here, and I just want to tell you, please don't believe in sensational journalism. And then somebody will come and say, Akpabio under probe for 40 billion. Which Akpabio? If I see 40 billion, won't I faint?
The commission said they had only spent 1.12 billion naira on media. Sir, we have evidence to show that this, again, is a blatant lie. No, sir. Sir, some people you know that they deserve is a professional. I may not question the process. But how can a mining company, an engineering company, be getting consultancy job in my profession? Aberration. We also know that when we alleged that staffs were getting illegal and unexplainable allowances, they said no. I'll give you an example, sir. That Mr. Charles Odili got 10 million naira for special interest. It's not explainable, sir. And that was, to him, and that's a director in the commission.
They have people who pay them. So the moment anybody who is funding whatever they are doing is taken out, they begin to protest and begin to bring up all manner of allegations and submissions. So I can tell you that 90% of the submissions made by some of those NGOs are just neither here nor there. They are there to serve the interests of their paymasters. I stand to be corrected and I stand to be challenged that Citizens Quest for Truth is the only one that has evidence of work done by Nddc in the past and now.
Out of this 2,900, the Senate Committee Chairman on Nddc signed, collected through one Nelson Agbamuche, 1,000 of it, that he's going to distribute it to the senators and the House members. Because we know some of you. So we took our time to try and verify. And all the senators said they know nothing about it. They do what? They know nothing about it. We'll give you the list. So that, and these two committee chairmen, when emergency contract that has no due process at all, when they were being awarded, they were the ones supervising this organization. They never raised an eyebrow. That I received 18 million naira interest. The MD has 51 million. What is interest? This interest is security. In Port Harcourt, they will tell you that an executive director of Nddc is better than hijacking a bullion van. So if they take you, every day the Nddc is paying ransom for staff and management. You pay to maintain almost 180, 150 policemen under that make sure that you arrive and go home and sleep. And all these interests were interest that was approved by the board. It's not that the IMC came. It has been ongoing. They have been there since we came, before we came.